Yo guys, how's everybody doing? Today we're going to be talking about the Dallas Cowboys receiving corps, or receiving roster, or who's going to make the roster as a receiver this year. I'm going to be doing this for every position. The offensive linemen, the receivers, the tight ends, the quarterbacks, the running backs, defensive line, linebackers, and the defensive backs, and then special teams. It'll be it'll be everything. I'll be talking about every position. So, well, let's get right into it. Obviously, the known. We got our big three at our receiver position with Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, and CeeDee Lamb. That's obviously the big attention that everyone gets, along with Blake Jarwin, who I'm going to talk about a little bit of the tight ends in this video. But a thing that goes overlooked, I should say, is the Dallas Cowboys as a whole dealt with injuries. And it really wasn't... It's not like we missed a player an entire season or multiple players 8+ weeks, but we were banged up. Tyron Smith was injured a lot. Zach Martin was injured here and there. Michael Gallup missed a couple games. We didn't have Landon Vander Esch a lot of the season, but that's not the part of the that's not what we're talking about. But Amari Cooper was banged up. So when we go back to that about injuries, Amari Cooper was not 100% all year long. It was visible. He even came out and talked about it. He said in a couple live streams that he felt malnourished throughout the season and he wasn't 100%, or he wasn't even himself. He switched to an all-vegan diet and he was malnourished and didn't get the right nutrition, he said. And he was also banged up. He had knee problems, which he even stated that was giving him problems, but he said this year he's 100% healthy. Michael Gallup missed a couple games this year. And then the thing that a lot of people, or Cowboys fans at least, they don't see the depth our receiving corps has. Last year, we carried 5 receivers, which it may seem basic, and that's right around average, but we had depth. You know, last year with Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, Randall Cobb, Tavon Austin, and Devin Smith, who we carried going in, we were probably going to carry 6 or 7 receivers if it wasn't for injuries. Last year, we had our depth, like other than Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, we had like our big duo. And obviously Randall Cobb, we had Devin Smith, like I said, Tavon Austin, like I said. We had Cedric Wilson, Noah Brown, John Vea Johnson. We had a deep receiving core. And Cedric Wilson was injured, and he didn't play at all during the regular season. We had Noah Brown, who was on IR all year long. Tavon Austin, who was injured in 2018 and 19. I may have said 2018 in a couple of statements, like 5 minutes ago or whatever. Like a couple of sentences ago, but I apologize for that. But we were injured. Devin Smith played 3 games before getting injured, and he's a speed burner. So we had depth at our receiver position, but it gets underlooked because we weren't healthy. Amari Cooper, like I said, unhealthy here and there. Michael Gallup missed a couple games. Obviously, Tavon Austin in and out of the lineup. So you have those problems. Going into this year, Amari Cooper says he's 100%. Michael Gallup says he's 100%. We have CeeDee Lamb, who's a rookie who really hasn't had an injury past. And then we look at those guys at our depth. We didn't bring back Tavon Austin. So now we have Vendell Bryant, Cedric Wilson, Noah Brown, John Vea Johnson, and Devin Smith. Devin Smith is a great athlete. He's a great receiver. His whole career he's been dealing with injuries at Ohio State. I mean, he was a second-round pick, for crying out loud. He was a second-round pick for a reason. And his time with the Jets and the Cowboys, he's just been injured. So you really can't help or fix that, but he still has 1 more year on his contract, and he's healthy going into this training camp, if we have one or whatever, but you get the point. He's healthy. He's very healthy this year. Cedric Wilson said he's 100%. Like, every guy that's been injured last year has come out and said they're 100%. Obviously, everybody that's coming from an injury always says that. Oh, I'm 100%. But take their word for it. It's something confident to feel about, I guess, for our receiving corps that is highlighted by Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, and CeeDee Lamb, which I'm bringing up a lot. But this preseason is going to be very, very interesting for every single position, because we're in a unique situation where we had like last year, our defensive line was so in depth that we had to let so many players go, and there was rumors that teams were going to trade for some of our defensive linemen, but now it's scarce. It's like, seems like we lost all that. And our depth this year is at cornerback and receiver. But obviously, this video we're talking about the receivers. We have Noah Brown, who I think should play the tight end. He's built more like a tight end and would probably get more playing time at tight end than receiver. Cedric Wilson, who was a draft pick in 2018, who's very, very talented. I love Cedric Wilson out of Boise State. And he's just been injured. He just hasn't really been healthy to see the regular season playing time other than just balling out in the preseason. Devin Smith, who I rooted for making the roster, he grew up in my hometown, and I've always been a huge fan of Ohio State. And then we don't have Tavon Austin, like I said, so that's going to be a guy that made the roster last year that's going to be needing those receptions, those playing time, and people are going to say, we'll go to that Devin Smith taking Tavon Austin's reps and even some of Randall Cobb's, because with CeeDee Lamb in that offense, it's just going to be a whole other weapon, and he's going to take up a lot of those catches that we lost by walking away from Randall Cobb, Tavon Austin, and other guys. And a lot of Cowboys fans really don't like Vendell Bryant. He was a filler guy we signed off the streets last year because Cedric Wilson was on IR, Noah Brown was on IR, Devin Smith was on IR, and we were very short at receivers. We went in to going into the 2019 season very depth, and we went out with with 4 receivers on the roster going into the end of the season. So for this year, I'm very, very excited. I'm sure that we're going to pick someone up towards the preseason because one of those 4 guys I mentioned, and Cedric Wilson, Noah Brown, Devin Smith, and Vendell Bryant, and all those guys, and John Vaya Johnson, one or maybe even none of those guys play half decent in the preseason, and the Cowboys need to bring someone in to replace those guys. Because let's say out of those 5 guys, one plays well in the preseason and plays good enough to bring into the active roster. You can't go into a season with 4 receivers, so they're going to have to sign someone else. That's why I think the Cowboys should go out and sign another receiver. Not saying go out and get Antonio Brown or those type of guys. Maybe even re-sign Tavon Austin, just in case another guy gets injured or doesn't really play well in the preseason. Or go out and get an undrafted rookie. We did bring in 2, but it's not like we have enough film on them. Like, go sign a veteran. If it's Taylor Gabriel, a 1-year deal, and if we cut him, we cut him. Or if I think, not like Taylor Gabriel. I don't want Taylor Gabriel, but a guy like him that's available on the market that'll be cheap. But anyway, I think we haven't done enough in the receiving and tight end. I'm gonna throw the tight end in here. Blake Jordan was a wide receiver in college, his first 3 years. His senior year, they switched him to tight end because he's built. It's like a Noah Brown. Blake Jordan was very successful at receiver, but they thought he could play tight end, and he played mediocre at Oklahoma State. So that's why he went undrafted in 2017. There were just a lot of questions, and people didn't view him as a draft, or people didn't view him worthy of a draft pick, and he's been very, very, and Blake Jordan was very, very successful, like I said, slowly but surely into this league. Going in year 4 this year, he's got his contract, but you guys get the point. It's like made that positional switch. We also have Don Schultz, who's not much of a receiver. He's more of a blocking tight end. Blake Bell, who we signed from the Chiefs, more of a blocking tight end. And Blake Jordan will probably be used more as a receiver, a wide out, a receiving tight end like a Zach Ertz, who can block. Blake Jordan is decent at blocking, just like Zach Ertz, but he's better receiving in the Dallas Goedert-esque type. That's what Blake Jordan will be. So we have those weapons, right? Blake Jarwin is more of a receiving weapon than a blocking weapon. Don't forget, Tony Pollard and Zeke are very, very good at catching the football. Tony Pollard had more receptions at Memphis and throughout his career than rushes. Zeke can catch the ball in the backfield and do it all. So we have a lot of weapons. I'm not worried about our depth. As long as our depth can stay healthy, we'll be fine. Because we obviously our big 3, we're going to run through them. After our top 3 out of receivers at the depth chart, we're not going to see those guys get the ball anyway. Like last year, out of Randall Cobb, Michael Gallup, and Amari Cooper, no one really got the ball on the receiving end. Maybe Tavon Austin, he got the ball the most, and Devin Smith in the first 2 weeks. But after that, there was just a bunch of no-names that no one's heard of, like the Vendell Bryants, that like normal Cowboy fans or normal casual, I should say normal, but casual NFL fans or casual Cowboys fans, me as a diehard, me as an NFL analyst, whatever, that like understands the game a lot, and I'm just a huge football fan that knows in depth of almost every single team, but I know a lot more about the Cowboys because that's my favorite team. I'm a diehard fan. Yada, yada, yada. You get it. So I feel very confident, obviously, because we have our big three. And I kind of sound like I'm repeating myself, but I want to make a point that other than the Cowboys' star three, big three, our depth is probably the most underappreciated or overlooked. We have so much depth at the receiving position, but we just cannot stay healthy. Like, if we want to make a deep run in the playoffs or at a championship run, our depth has to be it, because eventually people may start to figure out how to stop our big three. And once people start getting injured is when it gets scarce. It's just... I think we're going to carry 5 to 6 receivers. So, my predictions, I don't want to make this video too long. So, my predictions of who are going to make the roster. Obviously, you guys heard their names a million times. Amari Cooper, number 1. Michael Gallup, number 2. CeeDee Lamb, number 3. That's obvious. But number 4 is Devin Smith. He was number 5 last year behind Tavon Austin. And I think Devin Smith makes the roster, hopefully. I'm really rooting for him this year. And then number 5 will be Noah Brown. I hope Cedric Wilson... He has the most potential out of the 5 depth guys, but he can still be practice squad. Same with John Vea Johnson and Vendell Bryant. Those guys can both be practice squad. Devin Smith and obviously Noah Brown can't. They've been in the league forever. So, and obviously right now, those two help our team the most and fit our team the most. If Cedric Wilson takes some more years to develop, along with Vendell Bryant and John Vea Johnson, they take those extra years to develop. Obviously, we shouldn't carry 3 receivers in a practice squad. The odd man out will probably be Vendell Bryant. He had 1 catch last year for a touchdown. That's a positive look. But if we keep Cedric Wilson and John Vea Johnson on the practice squad, hopefully they can develop and replace Noah Brown and Devin Smith when the rotation is out behind the big 3. So thank you guys so much for watching. Tight ends are up next, and then we'll do quarterback, running back, finish with the offensive line later. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm out. Peace.